Welcome back to Passionately Catholic. Today, let's ask this question. Are Catholic schools worth it? Are Catholic schools worth it? Now, there's many ways that we can mean this. We could say, like, I'm a parent, is it worth it for me to send my kids to Catholic school? Okay, or maybe grandparent or whatever. Okay, or you could say, well, I'm part of a parish and a parish council, or I'm a priest and we have a Catholic school. Is it worth it to keep the Catholic school going? Are Catholic schools worth it? Now, just for clarification, I'm not going to be talking about Catholic post-secondary education. We're not talking about college, university, that kind of stuff. But let's talk a little bit about Catholic elementary school through Catholic high school even. Is Catholic education worth it? Are Catholic schools worth it to have? Because let's be totally honest about this, and bear with me for a second, because don't just take a soundbite from this video. I really want to share an overall thought with you. Okay, this is not just little segments to take away. Okay, I want you to share this overall view of where I'm coming from with years of Catholic education under my belt. Catholic education is extremely expensive. Okay, let's be totally real about this. And Catholic education can only exist due to huge sacrifices that are from the parish. Funding comes from many Catholic schools. A lot of funding comes from the parishes. The parents who choose Catholic education have to pay a lot. Tuition is not cheap. Okay, now, thanks be to God, a lot of Catholic schools have good financial assistance, and God, please bless the benefactors and donors who make Catholic education possible for those who really couldn't afford it. I, for example, grew up in a very low-income family situation. I was able to attend Catholic elementary school K through 6, and then in my local rural Iowa hometown, we didn't have a Catholic high school. I ended up going to public education for grades 7 through 12, and I got a great education. Okay, and I remember looking back on this as I got out of college and I was starting to work in the church. I was working as a director of religious education for a large parish within my home archdiocese of Dubuque, and I started learning about how much goes into Catholic education, and I started to ask this question: is Catholic education really worth it? And I remember looking back on my youth, okay, and having that foundation laid for my K through 12 Catholic education. And at that point, I could see the value in my K through 6 education. And I was like, you know what? That was really pivotal, because it taught me to pray. It gave me an environment in which Catholicism permeated what we did. It was part of everything that we did. Decisions that we made, discipline issues, topics that we talked about in class, literature, English that we read, history, all of those elements, Catholicism was brought in and integrated into what we were doing. And what my parents were doing at home was supported by what the Catholic school was educating myself and my brother in. And of course, now I'm a Catholic author, speaker, YouTuber. My brother's a Catholic priest in our home archdiocese of Dubuque. My father's a religious brother. We've been very blessed within my family for all of these vocations and all of this. And I got to say that Catholic education, those young years, was pivotal. It was foundational, because that gives, once people hit later years in life, it gives them that to, some people say to fall back on. Well, it gives them that as roots, okay, to draw nourishment from, not to fall back on. Okay, it gives them those stronger roots to draw nourishment from. But here's where I really started to ask another question. As I was looking at Catholic, say junior high and high school, is Catholic, that's even more expensive. Okay, there's way more involved there. It costs more in terms of tuition. Okay, it can cost more from the parishes, all of this stuff. So I started to ask this question: is it worth it to continue to educate a child in a Catholic school from, say, grades 6 to 7 all the way up to grade 12? Okay, seniors in high school. Is that necessary? Is it worth it? Would it be better to send them to a public school and then have other opportunities for religious education, and outside of that, youth groups, all these other models that are done in other Christian communities that definitely have their advantages? Okay, I'm not saying Catholicism, everything that we do, there's pros and cons to everything that we do. Okay, now, as a DRE, I worked for 2 years as a DRE, and then I took a position as a theology teacher at a Catholic high school in my wife's hometown in rural Iowa. Even after I had taken this position, I was still asking this question. I was saying, is Is it worth the investment on behalf of parents, on behalf of parishes? And as I learned as a Catholic educator, I knew I'd be paid less as a Catholic educator than I would at a public school, but I didn't realize until a few years, several years in, the last time I looked at this, I was being paid $20,000 less than a counterpart with the same number of years of experience, the same amount of education, more than $20,000 less I was making in terms of salary as well as benefits, health benefits, etc. And that doesn't even take into consideration retirement benefits, which are pretty good for public employees in the state of Iowa. Okay, so I knew I was going to be making a sacrifice teaching at a Catholic school, but I didn't realize the deficit that exists. So let's also be real that the sacrifices that are made to make Catholic education possible are the parish, the parents, the families, other benefactors who make it possible, as well as the Catholic school employees are sacrificing a lot in order to be able to make Catholic education possible. Now, don't miss this too. If you're part of a public school program and maybe there's a Catholic school in your area, if you're a taxpayer within an area in which there is a Catholic school, thank that Catholic school for existing, because the kids that are being educated in that Catholic school are making it possible for the public school education to get the public school kids to get more dollars per kid. I mean, imagine if that Catholic school didn't exist and all those kids were in a public school. Imagine how much more money the public school would need, or how much less money per child would be able to go to those public school kids. Okay, so I mean, be thankful, no matter who you are, be thankful for Catholic education, that Catholic schools are turning out students who are not only educated academically, but they're also educated spiritually. They also have this strong, not just a character foundation. Now, remember this, I'm a public school, middle school, and high school educated student, and I am very thankful for the education that I got. I feel like I got a very good education from that environment. I'm not knocking that at all. Okay, let me be super clear on this. But be thankful for the young people who are going through a Catholic education and have the opportunity to go through that kind of foundational leadership building, character building, spiritual building. You see, a Catholic education, when it's done right, here's my conclusion. Like this video if you agree with me on this. Subscribe and get more passionately Catholic content, okay, if you agree with this. I believe that Catholic schools, and this took me, I had to teach in a Catholic school for 2 to 3 years before I saw this enough to say yes. Catholic schools are so beyond worth it, but there's a catch. There's a huge catch. The catch is you got to do it right. You gotta do it right, okay? And what do I mean by that, okay? If a Catholic school is basically just a public school, or if it's just like a preppy private school, prep for college, private school, okay, maybe it's not worth it at all, okay? No, maybe it has a great academic, background and it's worth it as a college prep school, fine, whatever. But if you're making sacrifices, big sacrifices, the parents, the parishes, people in the community, your Catholic school staff, to make a Catholic school possible, it's worth it if you are a great Catholic school. And here's what I mean by this, okay? You have to have an awesome Catholic identity. You have to actually be Catholic. The Catholic values, the Catholic truths, our faith, our community, everything that we are as Catholics, and you know this, okay, as passionate Catholics, Catholicism is not a shallow thing. It's a very deep thing. We need to bring all of that richness, okay, not in terms of material richness, but in terms of truth and goodness and beauty, okay, of what Catholicism is, what God gives us in our faith. If we bring all of that in and it permeates everything that we do at that school, academically, athletically, in terms of the extracurriculars, it should form everyone who's a part of that, including the families, okay? If you have that, be thankful and keep building on that. If you don't have that, it's time to get moving, okay? I will say Catholic schools are beyond absolutely worth it, because I didn't really start to grasp until my second or third year teaching at a great, what I consider to be a great Catholic high school. I'm very happy to be there and be involved there, and I can't wait to send my kids to the school at which I teach. And I'm so thankful to have them at the Catholic elementary school in the town, my wife's hometown. This is wonderful opportunities for my kids, okay? And this was part of the reason why we chose to live here, was to raise our kids within this environment with these opportunities. Because these kids have an opportunity to have these deep foundational roots set in their faith. They have the opportunity to be formed and to blossom and to grow. Now, digging into this high school experience, I started to realize how pivotal it is, because I looked at my own experience and I said, yeah, K through 6, great Catholic education, good foundation, good roots. Okay, do you really need the junior high school? What I started to realize as I was able to teach these kids in high school was the things I was able to teach them, I wish desperately that I could have been taught these things, formed in these things, been able to ask the questions that my students asked, the questions that I had on my mind from 13 to 18. It would have been so incredibly helpful in terms of my foundation and building up my Catholic faith, rather than me running into such difficult years of questioning and doubting and not having the opportunities to have my faith infused into everything that I do, not having the opportunities to ask the questions that were really on my mind and having the easy accessibility to that, being surrounded by a student body that's going to support faith, encourage faith, where that's going to be the norm, okay? The opportunities in Catholic school are absolutely mind-blowing. At this point, I've been in Catholic education for 13 years. I've taught at Catholic high school as a theology teacher, and I absolutely love what I do. I absolutely believe God called me to be where I am. And for Catholic educators, the sacrifices that Catholic educators make to be where they are, they have to believe that, okay? That they know that they're doing something valuable beyond just this world. And I tell my students all the time, like, science, very important, math, very important, social studies, etc., the works, okay, English, all of the other subjects are important. You need to know those. But here's the thing, your religion class, your theology class doesn't just have worldly value. It's not just going to benefit you for decades to come. This has eternal value. Catholic education, my friend, has eternal value. If you're a priest or you're part of a parish, financial committee, okay, and you've got a Catholic school, keep that Catholic school going, because once you lose it, it's very difficult to start a new one unless you've got a great environment with a lot of wealth and resources, maybe even in an urban or suburban area. Okay, if you've got a Catholic school, make it vibrant. Make sure that Catholic identity is strong. Let the truths and beauty of our faith permeate every part of that school. If you're a Catholic school administrator, please do everything you can to have an amazing Catholic school, so that the investment that everyone is pouring into that school, your school, can be worth it. If you're a Catholic school educator, thank you for the sacrifices you make to make that possible. If you're a parent sending your kids to Catholic schools, thank you for keeping the Catholic schools vibrant, sending your kids there and giving them that opportunity. I would beg you to be passionately Catholic in your home as well, because that helps, as Catholic educators, that helps us a ton. When your kids come in, they're like fertile soil, and we are able to take them so much further in their academic life, spiritual life, the works. So thank you for that. If this video was useful to you and you want more passionately Catholic content, be sure to subscribe. If you've got an opinion about Catholic schools, do you think Catholic schools are worth it? Go ahead and paste that in the comments below. And a special thank you, as always, goes out to all of our patrons, especially on Patreon, who make everything that we do here at Passionately Catholic possible. God bless you, and I look forward to being in touch again very soon.